Dad's 60th birthday party filled the country club ballroom with 200 guests, crystal chandeliers, and the kind of elegant catering that required 3 months advance booking. Mom had planned everything perfectly: the ice sculpture, the live band, the photo backdrop where guests lined up to take pictures with the birthday boy. I stood near the champagne fountain, wearing a simple black dress I bought last week. Clean lines, modest hemline, nothing flashy. Comfortable. Jennifer, you made it. Mom swept over, already 3 glasses of wine in, her cheeks flushed with party hosting adrenaline. Have you seen your sister? She looks absolutely stunning tonight. I had seen her. Hard to miss Alexandra holding court near the dessert table, wearing a crimson gown that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. She changed her hair again, honey blonde highlights this time, perfectly styled. I'll say hello in a bit, I told Mom. Please do, and try to be nice. You know how sensitive she gets. I almost laughed. Sensitive, right. The band shifted to a slower song. Dad took Mom's hand, leading her to the dance floor. They looked happy together, married 35 years and still genuinely enjoying each other's company. Well, little sister actually showed up. I turned. Alexandra stood beside me now, champagne flute in hand, that familiar amused smile playing at her lips. Happy birthday to Dad, I said evenly. He'll be thrilled you're here. Her eyes traveled down my dress, lingering with obvious assessment. Though you could have made more of an effort. This is a formal event, Jennifer. This is formal. This is Target formal. There's a difference. She gestured to her own gown. This is Valentino. This is what appropriate looks like at a party like this. I took a sip of champagne, said nothing. I'm not trying to be mean, Alexandra continued, using that particular tone that always preceded her being mean. I'm trying to help. You're a successful woman now. That tech company of yours did well. You can afford to dress the part. I dress fine. You dress like you're still in college, like money doesn't matter, like presentation isn't important. She moved closer, lowering her voice. People judge, Jennifer. They see that dress, which cost what, $80? And they make assumptions about your success, your taste, your status. Cousin Michael appeared with the birthday cake, 60 candles blazing. Everyone gathered around, phones out, ready to sing. Alexandra positioned herself front and center naturally, making sure she'd be in all the photos. I stayed back, near the edge of the crowd. We sang. Dad blew out the candles. Everyone applauded. Speech, someone called out. Dad laughed, raising his hands for quiet. I'm not much for speeches, but I will say, I'm grateful. Grateful for my beautiful wife, my successful daughters, and my family and friends who've made these 60 years worth celebrating. More applause. The cake began its journey to the cutting table. Alexandra intercepted me as I headed toward the exit. Leaving already? Typical. I have an early meeting tomorrow. It's 8:30 on a Saturday night, Jennifer. The party just started. She blocked my path, her gown swishing dramatically. You know what your problem is? You don't know how to enjoy success. You made your money, but you still act poor, still dress poor, still drive that ridiculous Honda like you can't afford better. The Honda runs fine. The Honda is embarrassing. You're embarrassing. Dress cheaper. That's my advice to you. Oh wait, you already do. She laughed at her own joke, loud enough that nearby conversations paused. The family froze. Uncle Robert stopped mid-sentence. Aunt Patricia's champagne glass hovered halfway to her lips. Cousin Sarah openly stared. Alexandra didn't seem to notice the sudden silence, or maybe she did and didn't care. Seriously, Jennifer. I love you, but someone needs to tell you. Success means looking successful. That dress probably cost less than my shoes. These Louboutins? $1,200. This clutch, Hermes, $3,800. This necklace, Cartier, $15,000. She touched each item as she listed them. That's what an investment in appearance looks like. I set down my champagne flute carefully and pulled out my phone. You're right, I said quietly. Alexandra blinked. I am? You are. Presentation matters. Investment matters. Understanding the real cost of things matters. I opened my banking app, navigating to the section I rarely looked at anymore. The accounts I'd set up 4 years ago, when Alexandra had come to me, panicked and desperate, drowning in credit card debt she couldn't pay. What are you doing? Alexandra asked, uncertainty creeping into her voice. Understanding costs, I said. I pulled up the first account, Nordstrom Lux card, ending in 4472. Current balance, $47,300. Minimum payment, $1,800 monthly. Automatic payment from my account, active. I canceled it. My phone buzzed immediately. An alert from Nordstrom's payment system. Scheduled payment for account ending in 4472 has been canceled. Payment due in 6 days. I moved to the second account. Neiman Marcus ending in 8821. Balance, $52,100. Monthly payment, $2,100. Canceled. Stop, Alexandra said, her voice sharp. Jennifer, stop it right now. But I was already on the third card. Saks Fifth Avenue, ending in 2934. Balance, $38,900. Monthly payment, $1,600. Canceled. Alexandra's phone chimed, then chimed again. She pulled it from her Hermes clutch, the one I paid for, and stared at the screen in growing horror. You can't do this, she whispered. I can, actually. The cards aren't in your name, Alexandra. They're in mine. You're an authorized user because 4 years ago, your credit was destroyed, and you begged me to help you rebuild it without anyone knowing. The circle of family members around us had grown. People were actively watching now, pretending not to listen while listening to every word. I continued methodically. Bergdorf Goodman, $29,400 balance, $1,200 monthly, canceled. Louis Vuitton credit account, $31,800 balance, $1,400 monthly, canceled. Valentino boutique card, $35,000 balance, $1,700 monthly, canceled. That dress you're wearing? I said, looking at her crimson gown. The Valentino you just said represents appropriate. I paid for it. It's on the Valentino account, which carries a balance of $35,000 in designer clothes I've been paying for, while you told everyone you're a successful fashion buyer who gets industry discounts. Mom had stopped dancing. She and Dad were making their way toward us. The Louboutins? Nordstrom account. The Hermes clutch, Neiman Marcus. The Cartier necklace he just valued at $15,000? Bergdorf Goodman, purchased 8 months ago, still being paid off in installments. Alexandra's face had gone pale under her professionally applied makeup. Jennifer, what's going on? Dad asked, confused. I'm taking Alexandra's advice about understanding real costs, I said. I pulled up my spreadsheet, the one my accountant prepared last month when I asked for a full analysis of Alexandra's spending. For 4 years, I've been making payments on 6 different luxury credit cards in my name that Alexandra uses. The total outstanding balance is currently $234,500. The number hung in the air like a physical thing. That's impossible, Mom said weakly. It's meticulously documented. $234,500 across 6 accounts. I've been paying roughly $8,800 monthly in minimum payments to keep the accounts in good standing. I looked at Alexandra. You asked me to help you secretly because you said you were temporarily struggling. You said you'd pay me back once you got your finances sorted. That was 4 years ago. Jennifer, please, Alexandra said, and her voice had lost all its earlier confidence. Not here. Not now. We can talk about this privately. Like we've talked about it privately for 4 years while you kept spending? I shook my head. I've given you every opportunity to fix this. Instead, you've used the credit I provided to buy designer clothes and jewelry while mocking me for dressing cheap. Dad looked at Alexandra. Is this true? She didn't answer, just stood there, gripping her expensive clutch, her perfectly styled hair gleaming under the chandelier light. My phone started buzzing repeatedly, all 6 retailers, their automated systems detecting the payment cancellations, sending alerts about upcoming due dates and required payment information updates. Nordstrom wants $1,800 by Thursday, I said, reading the messages. Neiman Marcus wants $2,100 by Friday. Saks wants $1,600 by next Monday. The others will follow similar schedules. I don't have that kind of money available, Alexandra said, the words barely audible. Then you'll need to call the creditors and work out payment plans, or return the merchandise, or figure out what people do when they buy things they can't afford. Uncle Robert cleared his throat. Jennifer, maybe this conversation should happen somewhere private. Why? I interrupted. Alexandra didn't mind having a public conversation about my appearance, about my clothes being cheap and embarrassing, about how I don't understand presentation or investment or what success looks like. I turned back to my sister. You want to know what success looks like? Success is being able to afford your own clothes. Success is not owing $234,500 on credit cards someone else pays. Success is not wearing a $15,000 necklace financed by your younger sister while you mock her $80 dress. Alexandra's phone buzzed again. She looked at it, and I saw tears starting to form. That's probably Nordstrom's fraud prevention team, I said. When high-value accounts suddenly lose their payment method, they flag it. You'll need to call them tomorrow and provide your own credit card information. Fair warning, your personal credit score is around 580, so they probably won't approve you for the existing limit. How do you know my credit score? She asked, voice breaking. Because I've been monitoring it for 4 years, hoping it would improve enough that you could take over the payments. It hasn't. It's actually dropped 40 points since last year. Mom sank into a nearby chair. Dad stood beside her, looking older suddenly. Cousin Sarah, who'd been openly staring, pulled out her phone. I knew within an hour the whole extended family would know every detail. The total I've spent on your shopping over 4 years is actually higher than $234,500, I continued. That's just the current outstanding balance. If you include the payments I've already made toward principal, roughly $2,400 monthly for 48 months, that's another $115,200. So the real total is $349,700. Someone gasped. I wasn't sure who. $350,000, I repeated. That's what I've invested in maintaining your illusion of success. Your illusion of being a successful fashion buyer with incredible style and perfect taste. All while you've been telling everyone I dress like I shop at Target. I do shop at Target, I added. This dress cost $85, and I can afford it. Can you afford your Valentino gown, Alexandra? Can you actually pay for any of the things you're wearing right now? She couldn't answer. She just stood there crying, mascara starting to run. Brad, her husband of 3 years, stepped forward from wherever he'd been standing. Alexandra, what is she talking about? You didn't know either, I said, not a question. She told you she got industry discounts. That fashion buyers get to purchase designer items at cost. That her incredible wardrobe was a professional perk. His silence confirmed it. It wasn't a perk. It was debt. Massive debt that I've been covering while she built her reputation as the stylish sister with impeccable taste. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from my financial advisor. Just saw the cancel payments. Are you sure? This will trigger immediate collection protocols. I texted back, I'm sure. Dad finally found his voice. Jennifer, why didn't you tell us? Because Alexandra asked me not to. Because she said it would humiliate her. Because she promised she'd handle it herself as soon as she got on her feet. I looked at my sister. But you never got on your feet, did you? You just kept spending, kept charging, kept using my credit while dismissing my choices. I'm sorry, Alexandra whispered. You're sorry I stopped paying. That's different from being sorry you did it. Brad had his phone out now, probably checking their bank accounts, doing math, realizing the disaster they were facing. Those minimum payments restart in less than a week. I told Alexandra, if you don't make them, the accounts go delinquent. The creditors will start calling. Your credit score, which can't get much worse, will tank completely. They'll eventually sue for the balances. What am I supposed to do? She asked, desperate now. What everyone else does. Return what you can, sell what you can't return. Contact the creditors and negotiate payment plans. Get a second job. Learn to live within your actual means. I'll lose everything. You'll lose the illusion, I corrected. The designer clothes, the luxury accessories, the appearance of wealth. But those were never really yours anyway. They were mine, temporarily on loan while I waited for you to grow up. Mom was crying now too. Dad held her hand, looking between his 2 daughters like he didn't recognize either of us. The band had stopped playing. The entire party had ground to a halt, 200 guests watching the drama unfold in real time. I need air, Alexandra said suddenly. She pushed past me, nearly running toward the exit, Brad hurrying after her. I stood alone in the circle of family members, my phone still buzzing with alerts from creditors. Aunt Patricia approached cautiously. That was harsh. It was honest, I replied. There's a difference. You could have talked to her privately. I've been talking to her privately for 4 years. Every month when she called asking me to increase her credit limit. Every time she promised this was the last time. She just needed to get through one more season. Private conversations didn't work. Uncle Robert joined us. What happens now? Now Alexandra learns what things actually cost. What credit actually means. What happens when you can't pay your bills? She's your sister. Yes, and I've given her $350,000 over 4 years. I've supported her, protected her, enabled her. And in return, she publicly mocked me for wearing an $85 dress while she wore thousands of dollars of clothes I pay for. I picked up my purse. That's not a sister, that's a user. I walked toward the exit. Mom caught my arm. Please don't leave like this, she said, tears streaming down her face. It's your father's birthday. I know. I hope he has a wonderful evening. But I can't stay here and pretend everything's fine when Alexandra just spent the last 10 minutes humiliating me in front of everyone. She didn't know you'd react this way. She didn't think there'd be consequences. That's different. I gently removed Mom's hand from my arm. I love you both. I love Alexandra too in my way, but I'm done funding her delusion. I made it to my car, the embarrassing Honda Alexandra had mocked, before my phone rang. Brad. What the hell, Jennifer? He said when I answered. Do you have any idea what you just did to us? I stopped paying your wife's credit card bills. That's all. That's all? We're staring at over $200,000 in debt we didn't know existed. The minimum payments are $8,800 a month. Our mortgage is $3,200. We can't possibly. Then Alexandra needs to return the merchandise or sell it, I said calmly. That Valentino gown she's wearing? It's been worn once, so she can't return it. But she can probably resell it for $2,000. The Cartier necklace might get $8,000. The Hermes bag, maybe $2,500. She has a closet full of designer clothes with tags still on them. Start there. This is insane. This is reality. Your wife has been living beyond your means using my money. Now she has to live within your actual means using your money. She'll be destroyed. She'll be honest. There's a difference. He hung up. I drove home to my modest apartment, the one Alexandra had called depressing because it wasn't in the luxury high-rise district. I changed out of my $85 Target dress and into yoga pants, made tea, and sat on my balcony watching the city lights. My phone kept buzzing, messages from family members. Some supportive, some critical, some asking if I really meant to go through with it. One from Dad. I don't understand why you helped her if you were just going to do this. I typed back. I helped her hoping she'd change. She didn't. She got worse. Tonight proved it. Nothing from Alexandra until nearly midnight. You've ruined my life. I stared at the message for a long time, then typed. I gave you $350,000 over 4 years. I didn't ruin your life. I subsidized it. Now you get to build a real one. Everyone knows. Everyone saw. I can never face them again. Then don't face them. Go home, look at your closet full of designer clothes you can't afford, and make different choices. I hate you. You hate that the money stopped. That's different. She didn't respond after that. Monday morning, my assistant told me I had multiple calls from luxury retailers' fraud departments, all wanting to verify account changes. Tell them to contact the authorized user directly, I said. Alexandra Grant. Give them her phone number. All of them. All of them. By Tuesday, Alexandra's social media, which had been a carefully curated showcase of designer outfits and luxury lifestyles, went dark. No new posts, no stories, nothing. Brad called Wednesday morning. We've contacted all the creditors, he said, sounding exhausted. We've worked out payment plans. It's going to take us 7 years to pay it off, even with Alexandra taking a second job. What about selling the merchandise? We've sold about $40,000 worth. It helps, but it's barely a dent. It's a start. She's devastated, Jennifer. She won't eat, won't sleep, just sits in the closet crying. She's mourning the illusion, I said. That's normal. Eventually she'll move through it. Will you ever forgive her? I considered the question. I don't know. Ask me when she's paid off the debt herself, when she's learned to live within her means, when she stops confusing designer labels with self-worth. That could take years. It took 4 years to get here. It'll take time to get out. He hung up. Mom called Thursday. Your sister wants to talk to you. I don't think I'm ready for that. She wants to apologize. Really apologize. She's apologized before, usually right before asking for more money. This is different. Is it? Or is she just scared now that the money's gone? Mom didn't have an answer for that. 2 weeks after Dad's party, I received a package at my office. Inside was the Cartier necklace, the Hermes clutch, and a handwritten note. Jennifer, I sold everything I could return. These pieces are worth the most of what's left. Please take them. Apply the value to what I owe. I know it doesn't come close to covering it, but it's a start. I was wrong. Not just about the money. About everything. You were never the embarrassing sister. I was. I'm sorry. Alexandra. I looked at the jewelry, probably $20,000 in resale value. A tiny fraction of $350,000. But it was something. I called her. I got your package, I said when she answered. I didn't know if you'd call. Her voice sounded hollow, exhausted. I'm not taking the jewelry. Please. I'm not taking it because you need to sell it yourself. You need to be the one to go to the consignment store, negotiate the price, take the money, and apply it to your debt. That's how you learn what things actually cost. Silence. But I continued, when you've paid off half the debt through your own work, through your own sacrifice, through actually living differently, call me. We'll talk about the rest. Half? That'll take years. Yes, it will. The same way building something real always takes time. I paused. Alexandra, you spent 4 years buying things you couldn't afford while judging me for the things I chose to buy. You need to spend at least that long learning to make better choices. I don't know if I can do this. You can. You're smarter than you give yourself credit for. You just need to stop measuring your worth in designer labels and start measuring it in actual accomplishments. Another long silence. The dress you wore to Dad's party, she finally said. It really was nice. I was so jealous of how comfortable you looked. How you didn't need the labels to feel like you belonged. I belonged because I was Dad's daughter. Same as you. The clothes didn't matter. They mattered to me. I know. That's what you need to work on. We hung up without saying goodbye. I kept the note, though, tucked it in my desk drawer. Maybe in 4 years, we have a different conversation. Maybe by then, Alexandra would have learned what I'd known all along. Real success isn't what you wear. It's what you can afford to walk away from. And I could afford to walk away from a sister who only valued me as a bank account. The question was whether she could become a sister worth walking back to. Time would tell.